Hello, and welcome to our webinar, Amazing Audiobooks. I'm Heather Booth. I'm the editor of the audiobook section at Booklist. And before we begin with today's program, I'd like to go over some technical details. Links to today's slide presentation and the title list were included in the reminder email that you received from Zoom 1 hour ago. To download those, just open the email, scroll to the bottom, and click on the links located there. You can also download the slides and title list by typing the URLs on this screen into your web browser. If you have any trouble accessing these materials, just contact us at webinars@booklistonline.com. The audience is in listen-only mode, but we welcome any questions you might have. On the bottom of your screen is a toolbar with a button for Q&A. If you have a question or if you need technical assistance, simply click Q&A and type your message into the box that appears. We will do our best to respond to all tech-related questions, and we'll pass along all other questions to today's panelists so they can follow up with you after the webinar. Booklist offers closed captioning on all of our webinars. To enable or disable captions on your screen, please look for and click the Captions icon on the toolbar mentioned earlier. From there, you can select Show or Hide Captions from the menu that appears. If you choose to enable subtitles, you can adjust the size of the captions at any time by selecting Caption Settings. And finally, Booklist expects all participants to maintain an atmosphere of respect and fairness. Anyone who violates this standard of behavior, including engaging in any form of harassment, may, at the discretion of the organizers, be immediately removed. Today, we have the pleasure of hearing from Jen Rubens, the Associate Director of Library Marketing at Penguin Random House, from Abigail Marks, producer at Harper Audio, from Elizabeth Pucci, Product Marketing Manager at Hoopla, and Emily Ludloff, the Associate Manager for Libraries at Sourcebooks, plus a special guest. First, we'll hear from Jen Rubens. Jen is the Associate Director of Library Marketing, specializing in audio, and has been listening to audiobooks since she learned to read, turning the page when she heard the chimes. What a lovely childhood memory that is. She has devoted herself to supporting the art of storytelling in some shape or form for as long as she can remember, and is always thrilled to bring her passion for books, actors, and storytelling all together and to connect with libraries and listeners. Thank you so much for joining us, Jen.
Hello, and thank you for having me. I'm thrilled always to do this event. My name is Jennifer Rubens. I'm from Penguin Random House Library Marketing, and I have so many amazing titles to present you with. I was saying before this started, it's so hard to choose. So here we go. I'm going to jump right in. If you do have questions, please reach out at library@penguinrandomhouse.com and visit us at penguinrandomhouselibrary.com. Let's go on with the show. Okay, so on April 16th, we have an incredible book and author festival coming up. We'll send the link around after this, and I hope you'll sign up. It's a ton of fun and has lots of great panels and lots of books to discover there. Next slide, please. And you probably already know about the incredible ALA Award winner announcements that happened just at the end of last month. We are so excited to celebrate so many incredible audiobooks, so please check out. We have lots of blogs on our site and lots of links so that you can check your collections and make sure you're up to date with these truly fabulous and very special award winners. Next slide, please. And also, we're just in award season for audiobooks. We had the Audie nominations come out recently, and we're so thrilled to celebrate 32 nominations from Penguin Random House Audio. And you can see just a few of them right there, and we have a full collection on our site, and we can't wait to hear the winners on March 2nd. Next slide, please. So this is very exciting. In partnership with Jacqueline Woodson, Listening Library is producing a special multicast edition of Brown Girl Dreaming to celebrate its enduring legacy. And we would love to hear from fans like you, especially librarians like you, to have your voices be a part of this new audiobook edition of her powerful memoir. So you can hear from Jackie herself on our Instagram in a short video explaining a little bit more, or head to the link on the site, on the slide, and I'll also send that around in a recap for entry rules and to submit your voice by March 3rd. Next slide, please. So, to dive into some other exciting titles, Judy Blume is the highly anticipated biography of one of the world's most treasured literary voices, showcasing a life as triumphant and inspiring as the story she crafted. And it's read on audio by a true movie icon, Molly Ringwald, of 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink, The Breakfast Club fame, like I needed to even tell you all those things. But to know the name Judy Blume is to know and love literature. Her influential novels have turned into incredible classics that endure to this day. And as you can see from the screenshot from a post by Molly Ringwald back in 2018, she's a huge fan. So this is a really personal project for her to narrate on as well. And she actually led an interview with Judy back in that year. And she told Judy how her books have been an incredible comfort to her. And she also asked her in this interview, what is your 60-second idea to change the world? And I just had to share it because Judy said, I do think, especially as I grow older, that being kind and thinking about the other person is ideal. I think I've become much more kind. I would love everybody else to, too. And eat pasta. So if we couldn't love Judy Blume more, there you go. It's an amazing partnership, an amazing way to experience this wonderful biography on audio read by a true fan and true icon, Molly Ringwald, reading Judy Blume. Next slide, please. So as we move on, I'm going to cover 3 memoirs that are each about very different and very difficult and tragic experiences, but I think they're vital to share. These audiobooks are sure to be unforgettable and moving listening experiences. So Strangers went on sale in January and is already a New York Times bestseller, and I share it here because it's powerfully read on audio by the author, and she revisits her marriage, searching for clues that her husband was not who she always thought he was. And as she examines her relationship through a new lens, she reckons with her own family history and how a woman is expected to behave in the face of betrayal. And through all of it, she is transformed, giving way to someone braver, someone determined to use her voice. And that's exactly what she does when she narrates this audiobook. And in A Hymn to Life by Giselle Pellicot, it's got a very important subtitle that I want to share. Shame Has to Change Sides. So it was just announced this week that Dame Emma Thompson, the Academy Award-winning actress, has narrated this audiobook. And I urge you to watch the video message that she shared on Penguin Random House Audio's Instagram about why she was honored to narrate this book. Giselle has become a global figure after her horrifying sexual assault case, but this is part memoir, part act of defiance, and a true reckoning handled with utmost care by Emma Thompson's narration. And finally, on this slide, When We See You Again, if you have ever seen video of Rachel Goldberg-Pollen speak, who tragically lost her son Hirsch when he was taken from a music festival on October 7th, 2023, you know that she is a truly phenomenal speaker who has bravely shown the world a mother's grief and strength in the wake of unthinkable tragedy. And When We See You Again, Rachel gives voice to the broken among us and reminds us that even when the world feels choked with darkness, light exists in a different way. Next slide, please. So perhaps you had the great pleasure of hearing Tayari Jones speak to librarians in the keynote address at our winter Penguin Random House Book and Author Festival. She was such an inspiration in discussing the power of history and how she approaches writing. And Kin is read on audio by 2 phenomenal narrators, which is such a powerful way to experience this story about 2 lifelong friends whose worlds converge after many years apart in the face of a devastating tragedy. And next up, Emma Straub's narrator from This Time Tomorrow, Marin Ireland, returns to narrate this next joyful departure about a 4-day cruise ship ride called American Fantasy with a famous 90s era boy band as the main attraction. I'm a huge fan of Marin's narration. She won an Earphones for This Time Tomorrow, in which Audiophile said her welcoming voice and deft pacing keeps listeners fully engaged, and it's addictive listening. So I, for one, am ready to climb aboard American Fantasy. And finally, on this slide, something book clubs are definitely going to be listening to is Yesteryear. It's getting a huge amount of early buzz. It's a thriller in which a traditional American woman, a beautiful wife and mother who sells her pioneer lifestyle of raw milk and farm fresh eggs to her millions of social media followers, suddenly awakes cold, filthy, and terrified in the brutal reality of 1855 and has to figure out if it's a hoax or something far more sinister. So Rebecca Lohman takes this on. She's gotten starred reviews for librarian favorites by authors like Helen Ellis and Chris Bojalian. She's won an Odyssey honor for Rainbow Rowell's Eleanor and Park, and she's the perfect voice to take listeners on this gripping journey. Next slide, please. So just to point out two exciting spring narrations narrated by Julia Whalen. One is a great love story from Jenna Bush Hager's Thousand Voices imprint, Into the Blue, about a woman named AJ who works in a video rental store in 2000, dreams about writing for SNL, don't we all? And bonds with a guy named Noah who disappears only to become a well-known Hollywood heartthrob 7 years later. And AJ is cast opposite him. And then Library Reads Hall of Famer Annabelle Monaghan is back with Dolly All the Time, about a hardworking single mom who returns to her seaside hometown and stumbles into a fake dating relationship with a wealthy workaholic. And next slide. You love a full cast recording. I know you do. You're going to love these recordings. I just wanted to quickly showcase a bunch of full cast recordings, either newly available or coming soon. Truly something for everyone. Red Star Rebels is a YA high stakes, high chemistry, sci-fi race against the clock. Vigil is led by Judy Greer and Stephen Root, won an Earphones Award just last week. They said it's brief and brilliant, compelling, wildly imaginative. One of Us boasts British actor Richard Armitage among its cast. In The Ghost Women, every chapter is narrated from a different point of view, whether it's from the lead detective or a bunch of students, all suspects in a dark Art Academy set murder mystery. Upward Bound has Grey's Anatomy's T.R. Knight, comedian Alex Edelman, Broadway actresses Daphne Rubin Vega and Nikki M. James, just to name a few. It's written by Woody Brown, who's the first non-speaking autistic graduate of UCLA, and this is going to be brilliant. It's a vibrant cast of characters that really will come to life on audio. And finally on this slide, The Midnight Show. It's told via a compilation of formats, including interviews, journal entries, news articles. It's going to be so cool and so immersive. It's a late night show set mystery about surviving as a funny woman in a male-dominated world of comedy, and what happens when the most promising female star of her generation disappears. I can't wait for all of these. Next up. As you can tell, I'm talking so fast. There's so much to share. You know all of these authors on the slide. We're so excited for these returns and these eagerly awaited audiobooks. So please check them out, and we think you'll love them as much as we do. Next slide, please. To dive into some popular animated stories on audio, need I say more than K-pop Demon Hunters? This is a junior novelization, but let's be honest, I think adults are going to listen to this too. I have seen this movie countless times. I have sang all the songs. I'm admitting that publicly, but I also have children who sing them with me. And we cannot wait for March 31st to experience this phenomenon in a new way. And then also, we have a bunch of new Disney animated stories coming to audio as well, which is super exciting. And we have an example of two of those on the screen. Who doesn't love Stitch and Moana? And you can experience them this spring on audio. Next up, two really heartfelt listens. I think Michael Threets needs little introduction in this audience, but I'm So Happy You're Here is already a bestseller. He's, of course, the internet's librarian, host of the relaunched Reading Rainbow, and he invites us all to take a look and a listen to find ourselves at the library. It's perfect for little listeners who are regular visitors and those who might be visiting the library for the first time. And then finally, Found Sound is a delightfully harmonious mother-son collaboration from best-selling author Meg Wolitzer and her son, sound editor and music producer Charlie Panic, that will change the way you listen to the world. It could not be more perfect for audio. It's a sound-inspired scavenger hunt and fast-paced mystery about family, friendships lost and found. And next slide, please. I just also wanted to make sure that you're taking note of your Spanish audio collection, checking for requests there. Had to share Bad Bunny this week. We have Who is Bad Bunny in Spanish on audio, along with so many other fantastic selections, so important for libraries to offer to listeners of all ages. And those are just four recent releases that we have available, many more to be found in collections on our website. Next slide. So thank you so much. It's been such a joy to present to you. I wanted to make sure before I left that you know about the Penguin Random House audio app that's available to librarians. You can register and apply as a librarian using your library email address, and that will give you access to our audiobooks to help you with your listeners' advisory and that long TBR list that I know that you have. And then finally, we also have seasonal catalogs on our website. There's over 600 spring audiobooks for all ages just for spring alone. So lots more that I didn't have time to mention here, but we hope you'll visit us at penguinrandomhouselibrary.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jen. Wow, what a jam-packed catalog. I'm excited for so many of those. Next up, we are going to hear from Abigail Marks. Abigail is an Odyssey, Audie, and Earphones award-winning producer, director, narrator, and coach. Before her current position at Harper Audio, Abigail worked as a consultant and director for film, publishers, and post-production houses. Before that, she was an Ovation and LADCC award-winning actor. You can hear her voice on every major streaming platform. Thank you for being here today, Abigail.
It's such a pleasure to be here. This past year, I was at the American Library Association conference, and I just have to say, I think librarians are the best people in the world. It felt like they were there to have the most fun, but also to get as much done as could possibly be done in one weekend. So I'm just always delighted to be with librarians. I'm here to talk about our audiobooks, and we're going to go a little bit in depth into just a couple dozen books, or about a dozen books. But if you have more questions, my HarperCollins library marketing colleagues can answer any of them. One thing to note is that you can contact them at librarylovefest.com. And the other thing is that we have advanced listener copies that you can get on NetGalley or Edelweiss, and you guys are welcome to contact us about those. And here are some trade titles. They're going to be all over the map, but they're really, they're all really exciting. We'll start with Whistler by Ann Patchett. Oh, sorry, I will say to go to the next slide. Sorry, I apologize. Ann Patchett, the book goes on sale on June 2nd. Ann is one of our most beloved authors, and her audiobooks are usually narrated by amazing people. Tom Lake was narrated by Meryl Streep. The Dutch House was narrated by Tom Hanks, and my personal favorite, State of Wonder, was narrated by Hope Davis. But this book has a voice that's uniquely Anne's, and Anne is going to narrate this book. She's narrated most of her nonfiction, but this is going to be her first foray into narrating her own fiction, and I'm so excited about it. It's kind of got her dry wit, her emotional precision. There's a generosity of spirit that I think Anne's really going to hit with it. It's going to be a really great listen. Let's go to the next slide. Starside is a huge, exciting new adult romantasy from Alex Astor. Alex is known for her YA books, and this is her first foray into the adult romantasy space. We are going to do 2 productions of this. We are doing a duet production narrated by Vanessa Moyen and Anthony Palmini, and they're going to be we're putting out that in a couple months, and then we're doing another full production of it that's going to be a full dramatized, full cast production, and it's going to sound a lot like the Fourth Wing series, and this is the beginning of what should be a 4 or 5 book series. So we're really looking forward to it. Next slide, please. The next book is The Foursome by Christina Baker Klein. Maren Ireland, as Jen said, is one of the greatest narrators today. One of our favorites at HarperCollins that she narrated was Remarkably Bright Creatures. What's fascinating about this book as a whole is that it's a fictionalization of 2 conjoined twins. And it's a story about their family and their distant relatives. The actual sisters were distant relatives of the author. And so Marin gets to play around with a whole lot of interesting story, like how to present and be characters that are very similar but different, and make them very clear. Next slide, please. Galen by Walter Mosley is a new acquisition to our Amistad family. The narrator, Dion Graham, is one of the most decorated narrators on the planet. He's such a talent, and he's going to be doing Mosley's work, which is so unique in of itself. He's done so many different kinds of work. And this is a story that's centered around a Black family and includes a neurodivergent lead, and really talks about how family and friends and romance can work together. We're really excited about this one. Next slide, please. The Left and the Lucky by Willie Vlautin is coming out in April. The author is narrating it, and Willie is in a band called the D-Lines, and the band made a soundtrack to go along with the book, and some of Willie's music is going to be in the book. And the storytelling is just full. It has that rhythm, it has that vibe. It's going to be really fun to hear both his voice on the page and his voice within his music. And it has a really realistic portrait of how he sees his American life. Next slide, please. Starshipped by Cass Sebastian is being narrated by Joel Leslie. Cat is known for their queer take on historical romance by turning mostly Victorian era romance on its head and filling it with queer characters. Last year, Kat wrote a book called You Should Be So Lucky, which was a male-male romance based in the 50s and about baseball players. This book, Starshipped, is her first foray into completely contemporary literature and romance. And it's a male-male romance, enemies to lovers, that is set that Joel Leslie is narrating. And it's two famous television actors who fall in love. And Joel has narrated all of Kat's books, so we're glad to have him back on it. Next slide, please. Meeting New People by Danielle Lavery is being narrated by Marcia Gay Harden. She is one of the best actors of our time. The book is about a woman who loses her best friend, and she revisits all of her friendships over her lifetime. She's had 9 of them, and she decides that she's going to find her 10th, and that's going to be the relationship that she keeps forever. It's super character driven as she thinks about all of the people that she's met in her life, and it feels a lot like Nora Ephron or other sort of beloved romantic comedies about friendships. Next slide, please. The Children is going to be a very exciting book. The book is a part of a series. It's going to be, it's again, like Starside, is the transition from YA to adult literary fiction. It's a haunting novel, and it's going to have it's multicast. It's a novel about book people. Guinevere and Ennis had an unconventional childhood. They're children of a popular fantasy author, and they lived a very different life than all of the fantasy novels that their mother wrote them into. But this book starts with a chapter from those characters' mothers' literary works. So we get a chapter from one of her books, and then the book happens. And then at the end of the book, we have another chapter from the book that's coming up next in the series. We have some of the greatest narrators. Saskia Marlavelle, Dicky Costello is going to be reading lines from the 2 short sections in the beginning and the end of the book. And we're going to have a fully produced soundscape for both the beginning and the end of the book to sort of set up the world that we live in this fantasy world. Next slide, please. The Wisdom Corner is going to be a story. Some of you are probably familiar with the author's previous novel, The Winter Counts. This is a sequel to that novel, but it can also be read as a standalone. The narrator, Shane Ghostkeeper, also narrated The Buffalo Hunter, and he also narrated a book that we are nominated, that Harper's is nominated for at the Audio Awards this year, The Devil is a Southpaw. He's actually nominated as the Best New Voice for the Best New Voice Awards at the Audies. And he's just a breakout talent and totally worth listening to on audio. This is what's thrilling about this book is that it's crime fiction and it's set in a Native American world on a reservation. And we've got that both a misanthropic and a loving character as he seeks out justice for the people around him. Next slide, please. The Cruelty of Nice Folks is a book that I'm really looking forward to. Justin Ellis, the author, is going to narrate it himself. This is one of the most current books that's going to be coming out at this time in our lives. Justin Ellis is a journalist, and he went home to his hometown in Minneapolis. And the book is a reflection of how white supremacy has affected every part of our culture in the wake of George Floyd's murder. But as he goes back to Minnesota to explore his family's history, he starts exploring how Midwestern nice, Minnesota nice, has affected him and the way that he sees the world. And even though it is about George Floyd and that period of time, it feels very prescient to what's happening these days on the streets of our country. On the facade, he examines how progressivism and liberalism are both a facade and reality. And he really it's a love letter to Black life and how it has thrived both vibrantly and through all odds that are often against it. Next slide, please. We've just got our last few. This is a real fun one. Last Night Was Killer is being narrated by Helen Laser. She narrated Yellowface 2 years ago for us, which was nominated for an audiobook for Audio Award for Audiobook of the Year. She also narrated a book called Wedding People. Helen is in top form on this one. This is a book about Tilly Turner, a woman who signed up for an introductory pole class because she was looking for a distraction from her mother's passing. And she ends up waking up with a dead body in her car. And now she has to figure out what's going on and solve the mystery. Slide 14, please. The next slide, please. Galaxy Raiders is book 2 in a really fun series by Ian Douglas. Last year was Galaxy Raiders 1, which was called Abyss. We're continuing with the same narrator, Devin Sorvery. What's really great about this is that it is solid sci-fi, but it has a female protagonist, a female voice, and the world building is just classic sci-fi, but we have a feminist bent on it. And then the next slide, please. Tapestry of Fate is the follow-up to The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi. This is a swashbuckling pirate adventure in every fantasy mystery way that it can be, with a female protagonist. The narrator is Lamis Isak, plays Amina, and she's joined by a couple other narrators who play sort of surprise characters throughout. The way that this book was written, there's all these interruptions to the text, to the narrative, of characters coming in and stopping the main character from telling her story the way that she wants it to. So the production has multiple characters and sound design to make up for that. Next slide, please. I want to thank everybody for coming and listening. We have so many books. This was just our trade side, some books that we're excited about coming up. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or our library team. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Abigail. It's great to know we can get galleys of the Harper Advanced Listener copies on those platforms too.
We have them pretty regularly available.
Fantastic. It'll be a good treasure hunt. Next up, we're going to hear from Elizabeth Pucci. Elizabeth is Hoopla's product marketing manager for books and has been with the company for 3 years. Elizabeth earned her MLIS from Kent State University in Ohio. Her 6 years in library experience includes adult and teen programming, reference, collection development, outreach, and marketing. So she's really done it all. The floor is yours, Elizabeth.
I have to unmute. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, so as you said, I was a librarian for 6 or so years in various departments, and that has been, a great help in my role at Hoopla. So it's definitely nice to be on the other side of this webinar, as I had, previously attended some Booklist presentations. Also, I wanted to mention at Hoopla, I'm a member of our librarian cohort that we nicknamed the Cardigans. It's exclusively for those with past library experience or an MLIS, and there's a good group of us, so kind of fun to just bring up. Okay, go ahead and go to the next slide, please. Okay, so I'll just talk about Hoopla a little bit. So we are the only all-in-one digital platform for libraries. We have 13.5 million patrons registered to Hoopla from over 11,000 libraries. So that's all thanks to you. Over 3 million titles are available in 7 different formats, which include audiobooks, ebooks, comics, and manga, movies, music, TV, and Binge Pass. We have 125 languages on Hoopla and are in 4 territories: US, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, and we are exploring more territories. Okay, next slide. Okay, so within our collection of more than 3 million titles, we've selected a group of audiobooks to showcase today that come from indie authors. Hoopla partners with many well-known publishers like our friends on the call today, Harper, Sourcebooks, and PRH, but we're also proud to be a strong platform for independent voices. Hoopla is a great home for self-published and indie authors, and we love being able to share diversity of that content with you and your patrons. We offer several licensing models on Hoopla. So we have Instant, which is our pay-per-use, Flex, which allows, the one copy, one user model, and then an additional license type, Instant Bundles, which allows your library to pre-purchase a set of Hoopla Instant circulations on individual titles that can be used concurrently. Patrons, love Hoopla because it gives them that immediate borrow now experience that they have come to expect. So all of the titles that I'll be highlighting today are going to be instantly available. And as we all know, there's only so much room on the shelf, so Hoopla can be a helpful tool to ease the stress of weeding. I'll admit I was always terrible at letting go of a book, even if it hadn't circulated in quite some time. So with Hoopla, you can offer your patrons access to an incredible range of titles, including the indie content that might be difficult to add to a physical collection, and you don't have to worry about the space. Okay, and then today we selected some upcoming titles from Podium and Dreamscape. Podium often discovers indie authors to partner with for their audiobooks to amplify their voices. So about a year ago is when we added Podium content to Hoopla, and patrons were ecstatic. I'm pretty sure you guys were too. So from, Callie Hart's Fae and Alchemy series to Raven Kennedy's The Plated Prisoner series, which both started out as self-published titles, we can see how patrons engage highly in the indie content. And then we also have titles from Dreamscape, who was our sister company. We've worked with them really well throughout the years, and they have numerous self-published authors as well. And again, we've just seen that success from those authors like Frida McFadden and Rena Kent. Okay, next slide. All right, so on to the fun part. We're all here to see the titles. So let's start it off with Laws of Witchcraft by C.J. Archer. So if you're a fan of historical mysteries with a magical twist, Laws of Witchcraft is a great one to have on your radar. This is the first book in the Uncensored Memoirs of a Book Hunter, which is set in the years between C.J. Archer's 2 popular series. So it's the perfect either entry point for a new listener or, it's rewarding for the longtime fans. The story follows Professor Gavin Nash as he looks back in one of his earliest adventures, this time involving a rare and dangerous book that sets off a high-stakes quest. Archer, a USA Today and Wall Street Journal best-selling author, blends cozy mystery elements with fantasy in a way that's very accessible. And the audiobook clocks in at over 5 hours, making it a great choice for patrons looking for something immersive but not overwhelming. And it releases simultaneously on March 3rd. Next slide. Okay, The Raven and the Reindeer. It's a clever queer retelling of Hans Christian Andersen's The Snow Queen from New York Times bestselling author T. Kingfisher. Although it's not a new title, this audiobook release gives patrons a fresh way to experience the story. When Gerda's friend Kay is taken by the mysterious Snow Queen, she sets out across a dangerous wintry landscape of witchcraft to bring him home, accompanied only by a bandit and a talking raven. Kingfisher's signature wit and emotional depth gives this fairy tale reimagining a fresh, modern feel, making it a strong pick for fantasy readers and LGBTQ+ audiences looking for a shorter, character-driven listen. Next slide, please. Okay, so for the true crime and pop culture crossover fans, we have Peaky Blinders: The Legacy. This audiobook is a follow-up to Carl Chin's Sunday Times bestseller, Peaky Blinders: The Real Story, and it digs deeper into the real history behind the Birmingham gangs that inspired the hit TV series. So moving beyond the myth of the Shelby family, Chin explores what actually happened to figures like Billy Kimber and their rivals, tracing how their influence spread across the UK during the 1920s and 30s through street wars, black market bookmarking, and shifting criminal empires. With Peaky Blinders, the feature-length film that will release in March 2026, there's a lot of interest in this world right now. So narrated in part by the author himself, this 9-hour audiobook offers rich historical context and authenticity for patrons who enjoy narrative nonfiction and British history. Next slide, please. Okay, Duke with a Duchess is book 5 in Scarlett Scott's Wicked Dukes Society series, and it delivers exactly what historical romance readers are looking for: the high emotion, second chance love, and plenty of tension. Scarlett Scott is a USA Today best-selling author with a loyal following. So in this book, Everett Saunders, the Duke of Riverdale, believed he'd marry a quiet, compliant wife who would give him an heir and stay out of his way. But Sybil, the Duchess of Riverdale, has no intention of being discarded. Determined to reclaim her future, she confronts her estranged husband, only to find herself trapped in a scandalous bargain. He'll only grant her freedom if she gives him the heir he demands. What follows is an angsty, emotionally charged battle of wills and old wounds, unresolved desire, and lingering love collide. At 9.5 hours, with an immersive duet narration, this audiobook is a substantial and satisfying listen for fans of dramatic, character-driven historical romance. It releases April 7th, which closely followed the ebook. Next slide, please. Breaking Point is a short but emotionally intense prequel novella that introduces listeners to Gwen Kane, the newest protagonist from the authors of the popular Maddie Castle series. The story centers on Lacey Montgomery, a woman who has spent years surviving a dangerous marriage, until a final betrayal forces her to make an impossible choice. When a stranger offers her a way to disappear completely, she's drawn into a secret sanctuary for women who can't afford to be found, a place where survival comes at the cost of identity. This novella lays the emotional groundwork for Gwen Kane's character and sets the stage for the upcoming novel, Victim or Villain, which will release later in April, with a simultaneous audio release on April 7th. This is a strong duet-style narration from Teddy Hamilton and Stephanie Nemeth Parker. So it's a compelling recommendation for patrons who enjoy, dark, character-driven thrillers with high emotional stakes. Next slide, please. Okay, Unburdened, a memoir by Dorrit Kemsley, is obviously for fans of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but also for people that like celebrity memoirs. In this candid memoir, Kemsley peels back the layers of her public persona to share the unscripted moments that shaped her life. At nearly 9 hours long, this audiobook offers plenty of personal reflection and behind-the-scenes insights, which is exactly what a celebrity memoir listener is looking for. Author-narrated memoirs continue to be popular, so this one with the simultaneous release on April 21st is an easy recommendation for readers who love, pop culture, obviously reality TV, and personal storytelling. Next slide. Okay. So these two titles, Thrive and Addicted After All, are books 4 and 5 in the hugely popular Addicted series, which has a massive following on Book Talk, with the audiobook release on April 28th and then May 5th. These are ideal picks for libraries that are serving romance readers who follow the social media book trends. The series is known for its emotional intensity, found family dynamics, and long-running character arcs. And these later installments will reward listeners who are already invested. Next slide, please. Okay, closing things out is Butler from the New York Times bestselling author Claire McIntosh, best known for I Let You Go. This tightly paced mystery thriller is set at a glamorous French villa in the south of France, where a carefully curated guest list is quickly turns deadly when a body is discovered floating in the pool. At the center of the story is Baxter, a polished and impeccably discreet butler with a spotless reputation, who had spent decades catering to the ultra-wealthy without incident. Until now. His latest assignment at Villa Serenity brings together a volatile mix of guests, including an ex-wife, a much younger girlfriend, and Hollywood insiders. And what begins as a week of sun, wine, and celebration soon devolves into bickering, betrayal, and murder. As Baxter assists the police, secrets rise to the surface and suspicion falls in every direction, even toward the man who sees everything but is expected to say nothing. With a runtime of over 4 hours and a simultaneous release on June 16th, this is an ideal pick for patrons looking for a quick, gripping summer listen in a contained, high-stakes setting. Next slide. Okay, well, thank you so much for listening. The QR on the screen will take you to Hoopla's homepage, so make sure you check it out. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I know that the independent audiobook arena has just been exploding lately, so it's great to know which ones are your favorites and recommendable. Finally, we're going to hear from Emily Ludloff. Emily is the Associate Manager for Libraries at Sourcebooks. She previously worked as a digital marketer with some of the top names in the music industry in Nashville, Tennessee, but ultimately could not resist the pull of her first love, books. Emily will also introduce a special guest interview with 2026 Audio Award finalist Jeremy Carlisle Parker. Take it away, Emily.
Hello, everyone. My name is Emily Ludloff, and we are going to be doing something a little different today by starting out with a conversation between Sourcebooks Audio's Almeda Bainan and audiobook narrator of the blood-soaked thriller set at a remote healing retreat, Breathe In, Bleed Out, Jeremy Carlisle Parker. Please help me welcome them. Almeda Bainan is an Odyssey and Audio Award-winning audiobook producer and director of audio production at Sourcebooks Audio. where she leads in-house production across a wide range of genres. When she's not making audiobooks, Almeda can be found crafting possum-themed Mardi Gras throws, which I need to know more about, keeping the world whimsical for her toddler, and reaching the sunset on the bayou. Jeremy Carlisle Parker is an actor, singer, and an award-winning audiobook narrator living and working in New York. She has been featured in film and television and performed in regional theaters across the U.S. Her training as an opera singer has afforded her a facility with accents and foreign languages. She holds a BM, MM, and artist diploma in opera from the esteemed University of Cincinnati College Conservatory of Music. Jeremy is an out and proud queer narrator who has a profound love of storytelling and firmly believes that books can change lives and reading is resistance. All right, take it away, Almeda and Jeremy.
Hello.
Hello.
Are we up? Hi, Jeremy.
Hello, Mita. I'm so happy to be here.
Me too. Also, congratulations. I'm really stoked to get to actually celebrate together in New York in a couple of weeks.
I cannot wait. I'm so happy. Go team us. Yay.
Yeah, and Brian too. He's here.
Absolutely.
And thank you for coming chat everything audiobooks today. I'm sure everyone's very interested to know what is happening in the booth from your end. I know one of the first things I always wonder whenever I am casting people is, okay, so you've been cast, you get the email. What's something that draws you to actually accept a book, and how do you begin preparing for it?
Oh, well, when you all reached out with if I was interested in taking Brian's project on, I usually will look. I mean, I had already known Brian's work. I love horror so much. It's one of my favorite genres to narrate. So I was already familiar with a lot of his work. But I'll like take a peek at the cover, and I'll look at that cover is killer. Like
I
it's
know, love it.
so evocative and striking. Not that the cover doesn't make or break anything, but it is kind of like a fun like wine bottle label, like it really grabs you instantly. And yeah, Brian has been on my radar for quite some time, so it was a no-brainer to take this on. I was super shocked and very honored that you all thought of me for this. And then yeah, I just jump into once the manuscript is ready, just jump into my prep read as soon as I possibly can so that I can circle back with any sort of pronunciation questions, kind of get a vibe for what I'll be dealing with and the journey that I'll take. I also like to make atmospheric playlists and stuff for my days of recording to like get me in the vibe and the mood and the headspace that I need. And so yeah.
Great. And obviously you killed this one. We have a really great finalist nod to point to for that. But whenever you're in the booth with something like this, do you feel like, yes, I'm in it, this one's the one, knocked it out of the park? Or is it something that you maybe like get afterwards when you're breathing in through it a little?
I mean, I love to swing big with my work, especially in the booth. And I am just like I am weak for an unreliable narrator, which I think Brian does so brilliantly well. Hannah is a mess. I mean, she's an unlikable
I love
character.
her.
I love her. I love her messiness. It's like so human. And she is going through it. And also and it's fun to be able to step into a first person POV. I don't want to spoil anything, but there are POV shifts interspersed throughout, but it is so much fun to live in her head and process everything like through her eyes and her, and her emotional state from beat to beat and scene to scene and day to day. But I mean, Brian's writing is just so visceral and superbly crafted and excellent. And I also think that his love for the genre, especially the slasher genre, is so imbued in
Oh, yeah.
the work. And as someone who also is just a fangirl, a feral fangirl for that genre, it really is a love letter to all that came before
And I mean, that's why I think it's super special that we included his author's note at the end as well, where he gives
Oh,
a lot of perspective on like how this story was born and his history too. And so when you get material that is just so rich, like Brian has created, it feels like flying. So the Audionom was a huge surprise to me. So I'm thrilled for us. I like had no idea, but I knew, I was like, oh, Brian, you get it. Like, get out of my head, like he's just in the pocket and yeah. And then it just, you feel that synergy of like words and then my heart and spirit and lived experience. And then it just magic happens.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely did on this one. I think one of the things that impresses me most about you and kind of narrators in the booth in general is how long you guys sit in there most of the time alone and live in these characters' heads. And I know that whenever I'm prepping a script, sometimes I have to go take a walk. I have to because, we're some of these get so dark or go so many places that you're just like, oh, and I'm just sitting here reading it. And so if whenever y'all are in the little four walls, I was just kind of wondering, how do you prepare and sustain it physically? Like, how do you take care of your voice? And also, what kind of emotional place do you find that you have to be in whenever you're getting into some of these like deeper projects?
Oh, I mean, my training as an opera singer has afforded me so much wisdom about like what my voice needs to be, like to sustainably and healthily like go in and do books like Brian's, which are super high energy and like a lot is happening and the scenes are so cinematic and huge in their scope, and also like we're screaming and we're doing
You
a
are sound effects at a lot of points. It's so cool.
yes. Yeah. So just from a technical standpoint, I mean, I steam rig. I mean, it's all boring stuff. Hydration is super key. I'm a big electrolyte person. I find that it helps with like mouth noises and stuff and keeping me feeling as fresh as for as long as possible. And then rest is super, super important. But just any sort of like, I kind of think of us as like a Broadway performers, like that regimen of like that vocal health regimen that we adhere to, just to make sure that we can be, we can record. The time is a little bit slower than the average, I think, but it's about 2.5 to 3 working hours to get one finished hour for me personally, because I nitpick and get in my head sometimes. I get a little too cerebral with it. So yeah, so that's, and my target of output each day is like 2 to 3 finished hours. So, that can be up to like 9 hours of talking to myself. So and trying to embody, every day. So so yeah, and then taking breaks, like when it starts to feel too heavy, just I will step out and like shake it off and listen to something or check in with a friend or something, because we are conduits. That is what we do as narrators. We're a conduit of emotion and experience, and some of the material can get incredibly heavy, especially as the world feels heavy too around us. And so I think self-care is super important, and in taking breaks and honoring what your body is telling you in the moment.
Yeah, I think that's so interesting and just kind of good to remember in general for everybody in the world right now. But yeah, so I think one of my other favorite moments with someone who is new to the booth, or, maybe an author or narrator, is kind of figuring out and hearing in the tea breaks what they didn't realize was going to be difficult about recording an audiobook. And so I was really interested to know what you think that listeners think is really easy, but actually is really difficult when you're in the booth.
I think it's the being alone part. Like, I mean, a lot of us are introverted, right? I mean, I am. I like to call myself like an extroverted introvert. And also when you're collaborating with someone, you're not, and many of us come from a theater background or some
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of training. And so I think it's always surprising when there's been so many mentions of like multicast productions that are coming out this spring and summer and how exciting they are, and like duet production. And like, we're just all on our own doing that. I mean, very, very rarely you're in the same room as your co-stars. But most often it's solitary work that you're like, I hope this is good. I don't know. I'm doing it by myself, and you just put it out in the world and hope it's received well. So yeah, I think and it can get lonely too.
Yeah, that's a great answer. And honestly, one I wasn't expecting. But I think we have time for one more question. Is there a quick moment in Breathe In, Bleed Out that our listeners can keep an ear out for? Maybe something that you really just are proud of, or an Easter egg,
Oh, I,
without spoilers.
yes. No, I really love the moment because I, as a reader, preparing it, I was like, who Hannah, our girl is not innocent, right? Like she, because it opens like on with the scene where we leave her, and it's that moment with that shift where we're like, ooh, nope, guilt needs to be placed on someone else, and she really starts to like stand into her own, and she's like, I'm not messing with this, like let's ride, is I think an incredible turning point for her, where you're like, nope, she's my girl, I'm rooting for her, and let's see let's see how she fights back, because I love a redemption moment.
And you definitely nailed that. And I think that we're at time. Thank you so much for doing
Oh, so
this.
much.
It was so great to hear all of this.
Oh, and thank you for having me, Almeda, and everyone else. Thank you for letting me be a part of this. It's so special.
Thank you so, so much, Amita and Jeremy. Okay, so I'm going to spend our last couple minutes fast talking through some of our audiobooks from Sourcebooks Audio that are now available and upcoming. First, looking at audiobooks are now available. We have a great collection of adult titles, including Arcane Inheritance, All the Little Houses, Promise Me. And on the kids and YA side, we have our fan favorite Six Queens of Henry VIII, Female Heroes of Greek Mythology, and Darkness Greeted Her. Next slide. And of course, this is only a small sliver of the many, many audiobooks coming soon from Sourcebooks Audio. On the adult side, Where the Wildflowers Grow is narrated by Tracy Tons and Deontay Black and is from acclaimed author Tara Shelton Harris. From New York Times bestselling author of the book Woman of Troublesome Creek comes The Mountains We Call Home, which returns to Kentucky's Blue People and our favorite pack horse librarians. North of Ordinary is a gripping memoir by Life Below Zero star Sue Aikens, also read by the author Sue Aikens, and she takes her readers to Kavik, her remote outpost 200 miles north of the Arctic Circle, where temperatures plunge to negative 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Ooh, cold. On the kids and YA side, there's What We Did to Survive, where a dream spring break in Mexico turns deadly in a pulse-pounding thriller from best-selling author Megan Lally. Dragon Girl in the Awakened Flames follows an orphaned girl with scales on her skin. She discovers she's hatched from a dragon's egg, and her blood holds the secret to immortality. And then finally, Burn the Kingdom Down, one of my personal favorites. This is an action-packed enemies to lovers romantasy, perfect for those teen audiences. Next slide, please. Okay, and I'm sorry I went through those so quickly, but that's all we have for you today. Thank you to Almeda and Jeremy Carlisle Parker for your great conversation around the audiobook for Breathe In, Bleed Out, which is available now. Also very exciting, in your follow-up email, we will be sending you a free audiobook of this audiobook. It is an ALC and you will get to listen to it. So look out for that email tomorrow. Please reach out to me if you do not receive that link or it's broken for some reason. I'm happy to send you that audiobook. Thank you so much for your time today. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much, Emily, and thank you also to Almeda and Jeremy. Sourcebooks is fairly new on the audiobook scene, and it's just been so great to see Chicago area. It's being somebody from the Chicago area publisher just hit the ground running with that. Really exciting. Thank you so much to all of today's presenters. Tomorrow, all attendees will receive an email, the one that Emily just mentioned, containing links to today's slide presentation, the title list, a certificate of completion, as well as a video recording. For more information about Booklist webinars, be sure to visit booklistonline.com/webinars, where you can view archives of past webinars and register for upcoming ones like those that you see here. You can also find out about the latest webinars on our social channels. Visit us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and on Blue Sky. Booklist is thrilled to announce that our popular Readers Advisory workshops will be back this year. I believe this is the third year in a row that we've done the Readers Advisory Ideas in Practice. You can scan the QR code on the screen or head over to our website to register for this free event on March 18th, featuring 3 stellar 1-hour presentations covering Readers Advisory for history, a deep dive into romantasy, and an exploration of the 4 cornerstones of reader interest that I will be presenting with my colleague Susan McGuire. Hope to see you there. 150 years of empowering library professionals, advancing access to knowledge, and protecting the freedom to read. Since 1876, the American Library Association has embodied America's aspiration for knowledge and for democracy, championing the professionals who make that promise real every day. Scan the QR code on the screen or visit ALA 150 to learn how you can join us in helping to shape the next 150 years of libraries. Thank you so much for joining us for today's webinar. One more huge thanks to our panelists and to our sponsors, Penguin Random House, HarperCollins, Hoopla, and Sourcebooks. This concludes today's webinar. See you next time.